What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism boxing channel where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, put that on all so you can get notified immediately when we drop vlogs on this channel. So without further ado, let's get into it. Last night, what did we have? We had Derek Chisora versus Joseph Parker. This was a fight that was meant to take place back in 2019. And yeah, build up as usual. It was calm, and then there was a bit of drama. Derek Chisora refusing to accept the result of the coin toss and refusing to walk out first until his mum was called by David Hay, on the Friday night or Saturday morning, whatever. So anyway, getting into the fight, we saw Derek Chisora box to his usual game plan for the most part, open the fight, perfectly really, for Derek Chisora when he landed within, I think it was within the first few seconds, I don't know, maybe first 10-20 seconds, lands a looping overhand right, and I believe it landed on the temple of Joseph Parker, around the ear area, somewhere around there, and it disoriented Parker, put him straight down. He did get up from it, but you could see it was quite a heavy shot. And yeah, Derek Chisora opened the fight perfectly well, put the pressure on Joseph Parker, got the knockdown, making it definitely a 10-8 round. As the fight sort of progressed, Derek Chisora was doing what he did best, getting Joseph Parker to be constantly sort of retreating throughout the fight, constantly be on the back foot. I'm sure that's what Parker expected. Parker did try to throw a few combinations, but especially over the first several rounds, Derek Chisora for me was sort of in control, at least of the pace of the fight. He was controlling the pace by just footwork, keeping the pressure on Joseph Parker by just constantly moving forward. He would walk forward, almost with a bit of a jog forward, and he was putting that pressure on Parker. He was doing a bit of bobbing and weaving, bit of cross arm defense throughout this fight, and he was always chucking bombs at Joseph Parker. I think I kind of I found his work to be a bit crude for my taste, but he's a crude fighter, and I think what Chisora was doing, especially for the first third and sort of the first half of the fight, was working. I think a lot of what he was doing was working. He was throwing some vicious shots to the body, and just basically doing what you need to do in boxing, which is throwing more and landing more. So for me, I think I had him taking, almost the majority, I would say, of at least the first sort of 5-6 rounds. I think some of them were quite close, but with Derek Chisora sort of having a higher work rate than Parker, and not only that, but being able to land consistently, head, body. So a lot of the time he would just dispense with a jab, not really throw a jab, and just sort of move his head and then try to get big right hands in, and he would be winging hooks into the body. But as much as some of Chisora's work was quite wild, for the most part, he was able to land, and even those overhand rights that he likes to throw, he was able to land them on several occasions. So with Parker done some decent boxing, but for me, I felt that overall Parker, although he had some quite good tactics of sort of being on the back foot and whatnot, I think perhaps he could have maybe stood his ground with Derek Chisora a bit more than what he did, and sort of tried to push him back. He did use some veteran moves at some points in the fight, did Parker. He turned Chisora certain times. He kind of pushed Chisora back at various times in the fight. He did show some good flashes, good uppercuts and left hooks and things of that nature, catching Chisora time to time when he came in. But for me, I felt sort of by the late rounds, I thought, yep, Chisora's definitely ahead here, because the pattern of the fight had Chisora just sort of always doing that little bit more. And I felt that of the two of them, Chisora's pressure fighting, Chisora's front foot boxing, and the bobbing and weaving that he was doing, the combination punching that he was doing, he was just landing that bit more. And I think Derek Chisora was really dictating what was going on in this fight. He was really dictating where the fight was being fought. You know, he was playing the role of kind of a bully in this fight, and just pushing Parker back for the most part, and just chucking in the bombs. And I felt that that was really working, and that was working well against what Parker was doing. Parker was more sort of reacting to what Chisora was doing. I didn't feel at any stage of the fight that Parker really, I think he had a foothold in the fight. He was definitely in the fight, and he was winning rounds. I think the fight itself was quite close overall, but for me, I just had to edge it to Chisora, because I just felt the work he was doing was more effective. It was his type of fight. He made it into his type of fight. Although Parker did have some successes in the fight, overall the overall pattern of the fight, how it was being fought, was in Chisora's favor. And yeah, after the fight, obviously they give it to Parker, and it was a split decision. You had two judges had it relatively close. I think it was by about 2 rounds. I think it was like 115, 113 each, one going to Chisora, one going to Parker. And while those scorecards were being read, when the first one was to 1 second to another, I thought it might have been one of those 114, 114 draw cards. I thought they might have, the third judge might have scored it a draw or something like that, because that's often how they do it when you're getting a split draw. But then I heard the 116, 111 card, and this, of course, is a big point of contention, big bit of controversy among boxing fans, and of course for Chisora himself, because that card in itself was kind of bonkers. You know, it would mean you only give Chisora about about 2-3 rounds in total. And I think for me, you know, was a good fight, decent fight, but that kind of ruined it. And I think that scorecard and that judge was just completely unacceptable. For me, there's, you know, even if you're gonna give it to Parker, if you're gonna say, right, I preferred his work a little bit more, I thought he was better in this fight, you can't give it to Parker by like 5 rounds. I mean, that's ridiculous. You know, only giving Chisora just 2, 3 or whatever. No, I think that card, overall 116, 111, kind of ruined the experience, definitely, for, you know, and it was something that Chisora really didn't deserve, because he for me, you know, threw more, landed more, he was more impactful in the fight, he imposed himself on the fight, and he done more work. You know, he tired towards the end of the fight, but I think especially with the knockdown, you can't just say, he just won that knockdown round and then maybe another 1 or 2. No. The fight was very close. Even if you want to go against, you know, what I think and what most people think, that Chisora won, you can't give it to Parker by like 5 rounds. If you're going to give it to him, maybe you give it to him by 2 or whatever. But, you know, that 5-round card was ludicrous. I really don't know what fight this judge was watching. And it's unfortunate, because it's become a bit of a thing in boxing. Even Chisora was saying after that, maybe they don't like me, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know, it's one of them where he might have a point that, you know, maybe some don't like him in boxing because he's a guy that's very controversial, he's very out there, he does certain antics in the game, and he's done certain things which are illegal, you know, the kisses, the brawls and stuff like that. But I think at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, this is a boxing match, this is a sport, and you've got to score fights based on merit. You can't, you know, things like that can't come into it. The person's character and what they've done. It's about what they do in the ring on the night. And I think This is one of those where I won't say it's an outrageous robbery, but I will say it is a robbery in a sense, because Chisora deserved to win it. And I won't say the other two cards were bad, they were fine. Couple of points either way. But that judge just made it into kind of a robbery, because he scored it completely the wrong way round, and he didn't give Derek Chisora any credit for the good work that he done in that fight, and he made it look lopsided in the wrong direction. So for me, I can totally understand where Chisora's coming from and where other people are coming from in terms of robbery, because you had the judge scoring it lopsided in the wrong direction. But anyway, congrats to Joseph Parker. He did box quite well, but for me, the wrong man got the decision on the night. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And until next time, this is MKO Pugilism. We're over and out. Catch you on the next one.